Imagine this: summer's becoming hotter, winter's becoming more unpredictable, and storms becoming stronger than ever seen before. Because this is happening in the Florida, US, and the entire planet. Today I will be discussing what climate change is, what it does to our planet, and some long-term solutions we can implement to slow the long-term warming of our planet. Well, then you might wonder, what causes it? Well, it is mostly caused by human activities. It is scientifically proven that greenhouse gases are the main cause of climate change. Some of these you may have heard of before, especially carbon dioxide, as it is the most blamed gas for global warming on Earth. The reason why carbon dioxide specifically is so blamed is because it traps in heat into the atmosphere, especially at nighttime, which does not allow some heat that comes in through the day to escape into space like it normally should be able to, which makes the Earth hotter on average. In fact, carbon levels in the atmosphere keep reaching all-time highs every single year, and it has just hit 440 parts per million. And I might just seem like I'm throwing around a random number here, but that is actually very significant, because before industrial times, around 1750, the levels of carbon in the atmosphere was about 280 parts per million, which is a little less than half of what it is today, which traps in way more heat in the atmosphere. Now, what does all this carbon do to us? How does it affect us? Well, I'll just give you one example. The major example is the temperature increase over the last about 100 or 200 years or so. So NASA just recorded in 2024 a 2.7 Fahrenheit degree increase from what it was pre-industrial times around the world on average, which is huge. How does this affect us in everyday life? Well, these rising temperatures do lead to inconsistent temperatures throughout seasons, inconsistent rainfall throughout seasons, and inconsistent storm systems throughout mostly the summer and fall seasons. Overall, the trend that has been occurring lately is summer's getting hottest the fastest out of any other season, and nights actually warming faster than daytime because of the increased level of carbon in the air, which keeps the heat in nighttime, even in a clear night. But besides all this strange weather that we have never seen before, what happens as the earth warms is it is able to hold a lot more moisture in the air, which is part of the reason why Florida is so hot and humid, as hot air can hold a lot more humidity, which can make it feel muggy and awful outside. But as the earth gets warmer and warmer, it tends to hold more humidity, which leads to holding more energy, which then leads to stronger storm systems. This makes life harder for people who live in coastal areas like us in Florida, who have to deal with hurricanes, and in more central regions of the US, tornadoes, and in colder climates, blizzards. But on the topic of coastal places, those actually might be underwater soon. Let me explain. But as the warming of the Earth continues, this starts to melt the sea ice at the North and South Pole, which has already been happening for quite a while now. And this rises sea levels pretty slowly, so it's very hard to notice. But this sea ice melting is actually a positive feedback loop, which will cause our sea ice to melt at much faster rates than it does today. And this is because white ice reflects sunlight much more than deep blue ocean. And as there's less sea ice at the North and South Pole because it's already been melting, there will be more ocean exposed, and this soaks in even more sunlight, making those places warmer. In the hotter months, heat waves will become stronger and last much longer, causing many heat-related illnesses, and in some cases, death. Ecosystems are also struggling, especially ocean ecosystems, because the ocean is actually warming a little bit faster than the Earth is, especially coral reefs, which are located near the equator. They are bleaching at very high rates because of warmer waters. And this is getting worse, as we have just experienced our two hottest years on record, 2023 and 2024, both in a row. And 2023 was actually our hottest summer on Florida on record. But there are solutions to human-derived climate change, and it is not too late. In fact, we have already made major steps to improving the impact we make on this planet. Cars now have catalytic converters, there are green roofs in many cities now, along with people planting gardens in their own backyard. We have renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric, and we have the conservation of forests through reforestation. But we can do even more. We should fully replace fossil fuels with renewable energy sources such as hydroelectric, wind, solar power, and nuclear, so we can have a more sustainable future for all of us. But the only way to get this to actually happen is through government cooperation. As the government and the richest 1% of people in the world hold the most power and say over things, they should create new law and legislation to reduce emissions, fund clean energy sources, protect the natural environment and forests, and hold companies and corporations responsible for the environment to protect the land and the people. Climate change is real, and it's happening, and its effect can already be felt all around the world, from stronger storms to hotter summers and rising seas. But the thing is, we already started making a change, and we already started making a difference by embracing clean energy, protecting our environment, and making good decisions collectively and individually. As we can slow and eventually reverse climate change, but it is up to all of us to work together to make a difference and to act now.